contest number 2, ladies and gentlemen, 4 3-minute rounds of boxing in the super lightweight division. Introducing to you firstly, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the black spangled shorts trimmed with the sky blue silver spangled effect. At the weighing scale, 9 stone 13 pounds, presenting from Telford, Shropshire, Dean Jones. And opposing in, boxing out of the red corner, wearing the black collar shorts trimmed with gold. At the weighing scale, 9 stone 12 pounds 4 ounces, presenting from Oldham, Joe Dangerous Eco. Timekeeper of the bell, once more, Gary Brennan. Referee Jamie Kirkpatrick from Preston. 4 3-minute rounds.
Let's go for the rules. Keep the punches open, match heads in close. Obey my commands at all times, defend yourself at all times. Touch gloves, ball to your off.
Here we go then, and you can see Joe Eco. It doesn't look like he's overlooking this one, but we'll certainly see.
Yeah, Joe Eco, he's 4-0 with no KOs, 26 years old, so he's got time to work in his power. And as you say, he's not going to overlook his opponent. He's going to want to get a win under his belt, probably over the 4-round distance, and then bounce into his next fight. Dean Jones has had 7 fights, lost all 7, so I'm expecting this one to go the distance, but a stoppage win for Eco would be an added bonus.
Yeah, and credit to Joe and also Adam Ridge when they meet later on this year at the Jolly Boys show. It just shows their intent of both of them, they're confident in their own ability so early in their career to, fight a fellow unbeaten prospect that not many fighters do.
Yeah, as you say, it shows a lot of confidence. Increasingly, a few years ago, we had fighters building up ridiculous records, going to 26, 27 and all without any real challenges. Steve is now starting to match his fighters off against each other, which I think is a commendable thing. He's got a massive stable, so he can sit down with the loser of any particular fight and offer him fearful opportunities to rebuild. So I think it's a good move for them both to take the fight, and it'd be a good win for whoever wins that particular one to close out the year with.
Lovely right hook to the body landed from Eco. He's really sharp in there tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, and as you say, he looks a solid unit as well.
And with him boxing on the Jolly Boys show, 16th of December, that one is here. Will he see this as 2 separate training camps for that one, or will this just be like a continuation, a couple of days out of the gym and then we bang on it again?
You'd hope he'd go straight back into the gym again. Going back to Audley Harrison, and not sound like I'm picking on my former fallen idol, but every time Audley Harrison had a fight back in his early career, he'd say, I've had a great training camp. But you should be in training all the time. You shouldn't be having training camps when you're turning off from the amateur game. Your first 10 fights, you should be in the gym constantly, and hopefully in the gym constantly for the following 10 fights. And then obviously people reach world title level and might have a 12-week training camp. First couple of weeks to get the weight down, then work on skills. But I don't think at this level you should see it as a training camp. You should be in training all the time because you're a professional boxer.
And one thing that Joe has, he has so quick reactions. You usually see him drop his hands at some point during the fights, and he still doesn't get hit. He has lovely head movement with his hands down. Yeah,
as you say, that's kind of stabilising head movement. As you get that little bit older, it's a difficult style to pull off. Most notorious example is Roy Jones Jr., who had that kind of loose athletic style for many years and then was just getting banjoed left, right and centre when his reflexes and his punch resistance disappeared. But when you're a young fighter, you can drop the hand, you can use a bit of head movement to avoid shots and come back with your own counters. And I've spoken to some fighters in the past and asked them why they fight with that kind of drop in their hands, and some fighters just say they prefer punching from the hip. It's just sometimes a question of that fighter's style and preference.
Yeah, and a big thing for Joe Eco is that he can do both, and he's shown that so far in his short career as a professional. It's been a really good opening round, this.
Yeah, like you say, he's shown both facets to his game in this round. He's been a bit mercurial with his approach, but he's also got good solid fundamentals as well. So I think if you can mix those two things up, it makes you develop and improve as a fighter.
Yeah, in an opponent like Dean Jones, who likes to tuck up, try and take the shots on his gloves, how do you go about breaking down someone like that and getting through the guard?
If the guard is high, you would then try to target the body, as you said in the previous fight. Maybe try the jab to the body. If that invariably works, because when someone tucks their elbows in, they've got a long tunnel of opportunity down the middle. So jab to the body, then try and put a right hand through the middle. And once you've got a few jabs to the body, they might try and their elbows might try and tuck in a little bit more, and they'll expose the flank. Then start whipping the punches into the flanks, and then hopefully they'll drop the rounds and then you can start targeting the chin and the head area.
Yeah, and you could see Kelvin Travis in the corner then talking to Joe, and he's just looking for that half step back to get a little bit more distance and land that straight right hand to the body.
10 seconds, corners.
And sometimes that half step back is required. Like sometimes you can take a step back and your opponent might fall in a little bit and it presents the
Second
opportunity
down.
for you to land some counter
Round
shots.
2.
But so far so good for Miko, as you say. He's on course to set up that fight on the Jolly Boy show that everyone is looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, and every time Jones throws that jab, Iko's just looking for a lean back right hand, coming straight back over the top. And I think Jones is already starting to run out of ideas in there.
Yeah, it's tough for Jones. He's every one of his opponents has had the winning record. Every one of his opponents has been undefeated, so he's not had things easy by any means. He's fought a succession of fighters who would expect it to win. And I think in terms of journeyman, that could also drain your confidence as well. I'm sure no one goes into the profession thinking that they're going to be a journeyman. Even the ones that end up losing the first couple of fights might hope they can turn things around, but it's been a really tough task for Jones so far in these first 2 rounds, and Iko is bang on it.
Yeah, saying that though, Iko's not landed a lot in this round. You know, Jones is doing well to catch a lot on his arms and his gloves.
Yeah, and he's leaving that jab languishing a little bit, leaving the left hand out, which is one of my pet hates, but he's got a good boxing brain. He must have seen something that's making him do that. Maybe he thinks he can open Jones up that way, leave his own left out, dangling a little bit. Jones will try countering that and maybe come back with his own counter off that.
That's a lovely straight right hand from Iko.
Yeah, I should say that first minute of the round he didn't land anything of note, but he's warmed into the round now and he's looking a bit more orthodox this round as well in terms of his guard and his style.
You can just see Iko's a class above there tonight, isn't he? In everything that he's doing.
Yeah, and that's no disgrace for Jones. Like I say, fought 7 times, lost 7 times. All of his opponents have been undefeated, so he's coming up to 29 now, so things aren't getting any easier for him. And fighting someone like Iko is just always going to be a nightmare for him. Probably the one saving grace for this fight for him is that it's all for 4 rounds and not 6.
Yeah, he trains along Kesajfak, of course, you know, with Kelvin Travis, and he's someone that's also going to go a long way in the pro game, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's good to see all these fighters coming through. People always say when's the next star of boxing coming from in terms of the world level, but you've also got local fighters who sell a lot of tickets, who their fans see it as a social night out. They can come and support their local fighter, and then they can maybe tell their friends about it in the office, in the workplace and whatnot, and get a bit of a following that way. So it's, even though boxing is a very commercial sport and it's becoming very much corporate in terms of the sponsorship and all the rest of it, it's still good to see the fighters who draw fans from their local community and bring them to shows like this.
Yeah, and Iko's just starting to have success as this round comes to a close. And we said it earlier, but Jones has really run out of ideas about what to do. Iko's landing at will now, both to head and body.
Yeah, I think Jones ran out of ideas during the ring walk, and he's struggled to find any floating about in the ether ever since. And in terms of Iko, this is just a case of ticking that box, getting this fight out of the way and moving on to the next one. But he'll want to also do it with some style and some panache, and he's sold tickets to people, so I want them to go away with something to talk about.
Yeah, and halfway through this one, and Iko's certainly not overlooking his opponent tonight.
And he looks relaxed in the corner. You always look at the corners between rounds if you get a chance to. Obviously, when you're in a live environment like this, it's a perfect opportunity. Watching on TV, they try and squeeze in as many adverts as possible, so you might miss that coverage between rounds. As you'd expect, Iko looks relaxed and composed in the corner. Jones is on his feet. He's probably just looking forward to getting this next round out of the way so he can jump in his car and move on to his next opponent, his next assignment in the away corner.
Yeah, and talking about 2 VIP fighters getting in with each other, Colin Day and Tom
10
McGuinness
seconds, corners.
clash, topping the bill in Liverpool in a couple of weeks' time on VIP Boxing.tv, and that has the potential to be another great fight. And it's always the way, if you match 2 VIP fighters together, they tend to be barnstormers.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, it's something that we've been talking about on the Box Rec forum. People talked about it for years, why they couldn't just match their own fighters against each other on shows like this. As you say, it produces a good fight. They'll sell tickets. They'll both sell tickets. The crowd colour will be great for that one as well. And Steve can sit down with fighters and say, look, I want you to fight him, and vice versa. And if the fighter turns around and says, I don't want that fight, or 9 times out of 10 someone in the training or backroom team turns around and says, I don't want that fight, well, Steve can say, well, fair enough, here's your contract back, good luck to you. So I think we'll increasingly see fights of that nature over the next couple of years on these types of shows. And that's good for the people who are tuning in and watching it on YouTube and the various streaming outlets.
Jones just doing a little bit of showboating. I'm not sure that's because he thinks he's winning the fight. Nice work from Eco again. Looked really sharp so far, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's looked good, as you say. He's looked really good behind the jab, particularly the past couple of rounds. As I mentioned earlier, he was leaving his left extended a little bit, maybe to try and draw openings, but now he's really stabbing that jab home, and there's real purpose behind the punch. And he varies the jab as well, which is always a big thing. If you have a bit of variety on your jab, it makes it more difficult for your opponent to read it.
Yeah, and he's very correct with the shots he throws as well. And there's not a lot of wasting. Nice work to the body and head again from Eco in the corner.
Yeah, and he's not going crazy with his punches. His nickname is Dangerous, and that's what he's been tonight. There's always been an element of danger about him in terms of the shots he can deliver, but it's been a very assured, controlled performance tonight, knowing that he's got a big one just down the line beyond it.
Nice chopping right hand over the top as well. That's an effective shot to throw, isn't it? A lead right hand.
Yeah, sometimes if you can time that punch, it's particularly effective. Remember Lennox Lewis against Lionel Butler couldn't get his jab going that great, so his finishing combination was a lead right hand followed by a left. That finished Butler off and got Lewis back on the title contention trail. So sometimes it is just a case of thinking to yourself, something's not working, shall I try something else and see if that works. My old Bible of boxing used to be the Henry Cooper Guide to Boxing, where Henry would teach people how to jab and throw various punches, and one of the things he always highlighted was if something's not working for you, try something a little bit different. One of the photographs was Henry kneeling down a little bit and just stabbing a jab upwards. He said it was an instinctive punch, but then he tried it a couple of times in some of his tougher fights.
And just as you were talking then, Manchester icon Ricky Hatton just entered the building. Luke Evans and Brad Ray, of course, both train at Hatton's gym in Hyde, and he'll have a close eye on them too.
Yeah, and it gives them an extra dimension in terms of their own performance. I know that they've got Ricky here, who's a genuine boxing legend. Had the massive win over Kosher Tsu in a great career, so just knowing that Ricky's in the building will be a big bonus for anyone who's on the bill tonight.
Meanwhile in the ring, Joe Eco, that's 3 rounds out of 3 so far.
Yeah, 3 rounds on the bounce, and the good thing about it is he's shown different things in each of the 3 rounds. It's not been monotonous by any means, so I'll be interested to see what he produces here in the 4th.
I see Danny Wright will do one there, yeah.
Yeah, 3 minutes to go for Eco, and like you said, he's been so good with the variety of shots he's been throwing. He's not been happy just to plod to a 4-round decision, which is always a good thing to see.
Yeah, you see him in the corner, he's concentrating on what his trainer's saying to him, he's obviously taking the instructions in. The art of being a cornerman is becoming a lost art in many ways. You've got a lot of personal fitness knocking about, calling themselves trainers. What Bobby Rimmer used to call 3-step trainers. The first step is to come to the gym, the second step they come close to the ring, the third step is you come to your gym one day and they're there training your fighter. So it's good to see the odd proper cornerman knocking about, people who can deliver information in a concise way and actually can change a fight in the corner. We talked about Joe Goosen before in the past, people like Billy Graham, people who like the fighters can adapt as the fight progresses and give them the right advice.
And what advice do you think Joe would have been getting then? Is it more of the same, or is this the time of fight when you can start to try new things?
He'd probably be told more of the same. Don't do anything rash, maybe come out for the first minute, catch the eye again of the judge, of the sole arbiter, and just do what you've done previously, but maybe try and mix things up. And maybe they might have even said, look, we've been working on stuff in the gym for your next fight, go and try and do that in this next round and see how it works in a live situation. But it's always good to see the fighter concentrating on what the trainer's telling them. It's a sign of respect.
Yeah, and I'm sure Adam Ridge and his team will have a very close eye on tonight. And it looks like that clash is certainly gonna be coming to fruition. Nice work again from Joe Eco. And there he was just dropping his hands again like we mentioned before.
Yeah, and as we say, there's a real method to what he's doing, so it might be the case that he's working on stuff that he's been working on in the gym, working on it in a live situation tonight, and in that way this fight's a nice little bonus for him.
That's a nice shot from Dean Jones though, just giving Eco something to think about.
Yeah, and it's come at a nice point in the fight as well, as you say. It gives him something to think about and take away with him. Maybe he got a little bit reckless there, so that's something that he can look back when he watches this fight. And he's come right back into it after taking that shot. Eco, it's busted up Jones's nose as well. It's really starting to produce a lot of blood this round. And this again is something different from Eco. He's really dogging him in this round. It's nice to see him doing this.
And he's really up the tempo going into the last minute of the fourth and final round. Nice left hook to the body landing again. And credit to Dean Jones, he's still firing back.
Yeah, as I say, he showed some grit in this round, Jones. His nose is badly bleeding. He's taking a bit of a pounding, but as you say, he's trying to fire back a couple of times off the ropes.
And he's really finishing with a flurry here, Eco. He's really stepped the work rate up, and you can see Kelvin Travers in the corner asking him to up it for the last 30 seconds. Really leave his mark on this contest, and he's putting everything into this last 30 seconds. Blood coming from the nose of Jones now as well.
Yeah, that's been a problem for him throughout this round. I imagine he'll be glad to hear the final bell. As you say, he's taking a bit of a pounding in this final round and throughout the fight as well.
The final few seconds of this one, and Joe Eco finished strong and he dominated throughout. And like we've been saying all night, he's set up a great fight with Adam Ridge on the Jolly Boy show here at the Victoria Warehouse in December. Job done for Joe Eco, and he'll be very happy with that performance.
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong. He took a shot, but you are going to take shots in fights. People are overly critical of fighters, but he showed a lot of different dimensions to his game, and I was impressed with him tonight, considering he's got a big fight on the horizon. He didn't do anything silly, but still managed to send his fans happy and with something to talk about.
And the best thing, he looks like no injuries, no cuts, nothing to worry about. So we're on track for the Jolly Boys. Don't think there's any doubt with that result.
Yeah, again, I'd say 4-0. Sometimes we get the opposing fighter gets a share of a round, but I can't see it in this particular instance.
Hand over to the MC Michael Pass to announce the official result.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Kirkpatrick at the 4 rounds of boxing has scored the contest 40 points to 36 points for your winner, Joe Eco. And your appreciation, please, for Dean Jones.
Yeah, just as we thought, a shutout, the second shutout of the night, this time for Joe Eco.
Yeah, but it's a nice performance by Eco. We'll be happy with that. He did everything that he wanted. I'd imagine he wanted to do, and it may have even been the case he got to try out a few things as well.